Radio City Originals.
Made in Kerala, made in Kerala.
Hi, this is Sanish Bhaskaran and Swagatam everyone to Radio City Original Made in Kerala, powered by Joy Alucas, the world's favorite jeweler. Let's connect with iconic Malayalis who have made Kerala proud across the globe. മലയാളിയാണോ എന്ന ചോദ്യത്തിന് ഇവർ പറയുന്നത് ഒരു ഉത്തരമാണ്. അതെ, മലയാളിയാണ്. The guest on today's episode of Radio City Original Made in Kerala, powered by Joy Alucas, is someone who has created magic in Collywood, Bollywood and Bollywood. From big screen to touch screen, he's there everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, ചേട്ടന്മാരെ ചേച്ചിമാരെ, we have with us the incredibly talented writer director മലയാളികളുടെ സ്വന്തം ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ. നമസ്കാരം സർ.
നമസ്കാരം
സർ, എന്താണ് വിശേഷങ്ങളൊക്കെ? ഇപ്പോഴെവിടെയാ? ബോംബെ തന്നെയാണ്. അതെ അല്ലെ സർ. ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ എന്ന പേര് ആരോടെങ്കിലും ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സാധാരണ കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു ഉത്തരം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ ഹിന്ദി സിനിമയൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഡയറക്ടർ അല്ലേ എന്നാണ്. പേര് നമ്പ്യാർ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും പുള്ളി ഒരു മലയാളിയാണ് എന്ന കാര്യം ഒരുപാട് പേർക്ക് അറിയില്ല. ഈ കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ ഇപ്പോഴും ബാക്കി നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഈ കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ തീർക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് എന്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ ചോദ്യം. നാട്ടിൽ എവിടെയാണ് സർ?
അത് നമ്മളിപ്പോ മലയാളികള് കണ്ടാൽ ചോദിക്കുന്ന ആദ്യത്തെ ചോദ്യം അല്ലേ അത്? നാട്ടിൽ എവിടെയാണ്?
അതെ,
കണ്ണൂരാണ്. അച്ഛനമ്മേന്റെ വീട് കണ്ണൂരാണ്.
സർ, കുട്ടിക്കാലത്തെ കുറിച്ചൊന്ന് പറയൂ.
കുട്ടിക്കാലമെല്ലാം ഞാൻ ഐ വാസ് ബോൺ ആൻഡ് റേസ്ഡ് ഇൻ ബോംബെ. എന്റെ കുട്ടിക്കാലം എല്ലാം ബോംബെ തന്നെയാണ്. Every summer holiday was in Kannur. So every summer holiday, regularly as a family, we used to go to Kannur, and we had this big joint family in Kannur. So kore cousins and relatives ellam avade thanne undu. So I used to look forward to that. So that's my connection with Kerala.
ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ എന്ന വ്യക്തിയുടെ ആദ്യ സിനിമ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അതൊരു ഷോർട്ട് ഫിലിമാണ്. റിഫ്ലക്ഷൻസ് എന്ന ടൈറ്റിലുള്ള ഒരു ഷോർട്ട് ഫിലിം. ആ ഷോർട്ട് ഫിലിം നായകൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മലയാളത്തിന്റെ അല്ല, ഇന്ത്യയുടെ തന്നെ അഭിമാനമായ ശ്രീ മോഹൻലാൽ സാറാണ്. ആ ഒരു ഷോർട്ട് ഫിലിം കണ്ടിറങ്ങുന്ന ഒരു വ്യക്തിയുടെ ഒരു പെർസെപ്ഷൻ, ആ ഡയറക്ടറെ കുറിച്ചുള്ള പെർസെപ്ഷൻ ആണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. അവർക്ക് തോന്നുന്ന കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള, സോർട്ടഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള, ഒരു പക്ഷേ ഈ ഫിലിം സ്കൂളിലൊക്കെ പോയിട്ടുള്ള ഡയറക്ടറൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ, ആ ഒരു ക്ലാസ്സുള്ള മനുഷ്യനായിരിക്കും എന്നൊരു പെർസെപ്ഷൻ ആണുള്ളത്. എന്നാൽ ആ കഥയ്ക്ക് ഒരു ട്വിസ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്, ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാരുടെ സിനിമകളിലെ ട്വിസ്റ്റ് പോലെ. സർ, ആ കഥ എന്താണ്? ഒന്ന് പറയൂ.
Without sounding immodest at all, the little bit of finesse that was there in my first short film is purely attributed to all the people who were part of it. I'm talking about right from Lal sir, of course, in the acting capacity. Lal sir, Juhi, Elam, they were all Lal sir, of course. Everybody knows Lal sir, but even the other actors, even the technicians, everybody was way more experienced, and I managed to convince all these people to come on board. The cameraman Setu had a lot of feature films. Akivali, who was the editor of the film, had done a lot of feature films. So all of them coming on board and helping me realize my story is what gave it that little bit of finesse. Again, I'm saying it with a lot of humility. It's not that I feel that it's the greatest short film made, but in that time, when short films, there was no concept of short films being put up. Short films were definitely being made, but being uploaded on YouTube, or there were not many avenues for short films. So in that time, to make a short film like that was luckily it was like a bit of a clutter breaker. And purely, I think I would like to, because I had no clue. I just കഥ അറിയായിരുന്നു, ഈ കഥയിൽ എനിക്ക് ഇത് ചെയ്യണം, പക്ഷെ അത് എങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് എനിക്ക് I had no clue. So all these people helped me. Each one of those people in the team, from every technician, from the music director to the editor to the cinematographer to Lal sir, to the rest of the cast and the technician, they all helped me shape it the way it was. And that was a big learning. And so they made it look good.
സർ, പക്ഷേ ഈ കഥ ഷോർട്ട് ഫിലിം എടുക്കാൻ ഒരു വാശി ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ലേ? ഒരു വാശിപ്പുറത്തല്ലേ ഇത് എടുത്തത്?
അതെ, വാശിപ്പുറത്ത് എടുത്തത്.
അതെന്താണ് സർ?
Because I'd enrolled myself for a filmmaking course in New York, and on that trip to America, I got deported from America. I got into an argument with the immigration guy in Detroit, and I got deported from America, and all my dreams of wanting to do the filmmaking course and make feature films and all that, because I had a plan in mind. All that came to a standstill after that. So then I said, okay, if this was not meant to be, then maybe I will learn on the job. I'll learn by making films. I'll become a filmmaker.
Okay.
So I wrote down about. I started jamming on ideas, and I worked on about, I think, 10 to 12 short film ideas.
Okay.
So the idea was to make about 10 to 12 short films, and that will help me gain the experience to then go on to make a feature film. So that was the idea. That's how I started off, and that's how Reflection came about.
Wow. സർ, ഇതിൽ മറ്റൊരു പ്രത്യേകതയുണ്ട്. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒരു ന്യൂ കമർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഫിലിം മേക്കർ വരുന്നു, അതിനുശേഷം മോഹൻലാൽ പോലത്തെ ഒരു പ്രതിഭാസത്തിനെ അതിൽ കാസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തു. മുഴുനീള റോള് പുള്ളിക്ക് ആ ഷോർട്ട് ഫിലിമിലുണ്ട്. എന്നാൽ രസകരമായ സംഭവം, അതിൽ ഒരു ഡയലോഗ് പോലും ഇല്ല. മൈ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ടു ഇസ് ദാറ്റ് ഹൗ ഡിഡ് യു മാനേജ് ടു കൺവിൻസ് ഹിം അബൌട്ട് ദ പ്രോജക്ട് ആൻഡ് സെയിങ് ദാറ്റ് സർ ഇതിൽ വേറെ പ്രശ്നങ്ങളൊന്നുമില്ല, ഇതിലൊരു ഡയലോഗ് പോലും ഉണ്ടാവില്ല? അതെങ്ങനെയാ സർ?
I think he jumped onto it because of that. Because at the pitch level, when I told him that this is the idea and it's a silent short film, I think that's what excited him more.
Okay.
And that became like a USP for him to kind of latch onto it. I'm thinking that because, like you said, it's a completely inexperienced filmmaker going and pitching him a story idea about a short film like this about a man like this who's imagining himself in everybody's life. I think one of the factors that really played or that really worked for him was that it was a silent film.
Okay. പുള്ളിക്ക് ഒരു അപ്രഹെൻഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല, എവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല.
And that gave me so much faith that until then it was just like, it's like a pipeline dream. You're just hoping things will fall into place. So weirdly, he was the first one on my list.
Okay.
And I said, till I don't get an audience with him, I will keep trying. And I tried, and I finally got an audience thanks to Suresh Balaji. His brother-in-law, he's the one who heard the narration on the phone. I narrated the script to him first, and he said, "You really think that if Lalsa says yes, you'll be able to make this film?" I said, "Of course, I'll make it."
Okay.
And he arranged the appointment for me, and of course, Lal sir, I think within 10 minutes of hearing it, he just his first thing was, "When do you want to do it?" So I was like, "Sir, whenever you tell me, I'll be ready. Whenever you tell me."
True.
So suddenly, the moment he said yes, it became a bit too unreal for me that I finally realized that now I have to make it. I cannot back. That's
correct. Sir, what was the emotion in your mind when you said action, especially when you're in back of the camera നിന്നുകൊണ്ട് പുള്ളിനെ ഡയറക്റ്റ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് ആദ്യം പറയാൻ പോവാണ്, ഓക്കെ തുടങ്ങിക്കോളൂ ആക്ഷൻ? വാട്ട് വാസ് ദ ഇമോഷൻ?
ഇപ്പം ചോദിച്ചാൽ എനിക്ക് ഓർമ്മയില്ല. I don't remember. I think I was some kind of a haze that time, and I don't know how we did what we did. In fact, the other day somebody was asking me, and I couldn't remember the first day of shoot. I got mixed up which was the first day of shoot. So other people, it's a bit of a haze.
Okay.
All I knew was that me and Setu, we were a great Setu, my cameraman. So he was like the director for me, because he told me what I had no clue what shot I'm supposed to take. So he was the one guiding me through every step of the way. So I remember him standing by my side and helping me through the day to make sure that we get what we wanted. And so he was huge help on set. Because I had no ADs. There were no ADs. There was nobody. So it was just me, Setu's team, and Lal sir and the rest of things. So it was a very bare minimal crew.
പിന്നീട് ചെയ്ത സിനിമയാണ് ഷേത്താൻ. ബോളിവുഡിൽ ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ എന്ന ഫിലിം മേക്കറിന്റെ മുദ്ര പതിപ്പിച്ച, കയ്യൊപ്പ് പതിപ്പിച്ച ഒരു സിനിമയായിരുന്നു അത്. ഒരുപാട് പേര് ചർച്ച ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അതിൽ ഒരുപാട് വാർത്തകൾ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇൻഫാക്ട് ആ സിനിമ ഒരു ഹിറ്റും കൂടിയായിരുന്നു. ഐ വോണ്ട് ടു ആസ്ക് യു, ഹൗ മച്ച് ഡിഡ് ലൈഫ് ചേഞ്ച് ആഫ്റ്റർ ദാറ്റ് ഫോർ യു?
Because life is still in that change mode because of Shaitan. Because of that, I'm still able to work in this industry because of that film. So life definitely drastically changed with Shaitan.
കുറെ കൂടി സ്വീകാര്യത വന്ന പോലെ തോന്നുന്നില്ലേ, കുറെ കൂടി acknowledging ആയിട്ട് ഇപ്പോ?
Of course. See, the acceptance really matters. If a film finds some kind of acceptance from the audience, from your peers. It kind of gives you that validation. It kind of helps you with the next, then you have to consistently kind of build from there. So Shaitan was a stepping stone for me. It kind of helped me get that little bit of validation from the industry, from the audience, from my peers. So that definitely was a stepping stone for me.
എന്നോട് ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഡയറക്ടറിനെ സമ്മറൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒറ്റ വാക്ക് മാത്രം തരുവാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ പറയാ അൺപ്രെഡിക്റ്റബിൾ എന്നാണ്. അതിനൊരു കാരണമുണ്ട്. പിന്നീട് ചെയ്ത സിനിമ ഡേവിഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ബിജോയ് ചെയ്തത് ഒരു ഭാഷയിലല്ല, 2 ഭാഷയിലാണ്, തമിഴിലും ഹിന്ദിയിലും. ആ ഒരു കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ ഇത്തരത്തിലൊരു അറ്റംപ്റ്റ് നടത്തുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് കുറച്ചൊരു ബോൾഡായിട്ട് കരുതുന്ന ഒരു കാലഘട്ടം കൂടിയായിരുന്നു. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് എൻ അൺപ്രെഡിക്റ്റബിൾ മൂവ് അറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ടൈം. അതെങ്ങനെ സംഭവിച്ചേ?
I was fresh of the experience of working on Ravan. So I was a very hands-on line producer on Ravan.
Okay.
Mani sir suddenly gave me this. I was an AD. I was assisting him in Ravan also. Suddenly there was some issue and one line producer quit, and suddenly I was given the mantle of a line producer. He said that I'll have to take over that duty now.
Okay.
With zero experience. As an AD, I knew what I needed to do, but as a line producer, I had zero idea of how to go about it. And I think one of the, I did such a bad job at it. I was so terrible at line production because it's the first time you're doing it, and you're doing it for a film of this size. It was a bilingual, 2 sets of actors. With a huge budget and with very, very difficult, extremely difficult locations and all that. So it was a learning ground for me. But thankfully, my fuck ups and my screw ups didn't make Manisa throw me out. He actually tolerated me, even though I was bungling up so much.
Okay.
But it gave me a hands-on experience of mounting of the way he mounted the film. I could almost like a ringside spectator. I saw how a bilingual is made, and he had of course done it before. He had done with Ayudat and Yuva.
Yes.
And this was like I think the second time I was doing it. But that sparked that idea of wanting to try and do a film in 2 languages, especially because I think initially when David was written and we were mounting it, when Kenny sir came on board, David was initially a Hindi film, but when Kenny sir came on board, it just made natural sense to try and do it in 2 different languages, to try and tap into the other market also. And since then I've tried my hand in solo with Dulquer, and now even the new one that I'm doing, that's again a bilingual that I'm doing. I'm doing a Hindi Tamil.
Okay.
So that bilingual bug has not gone away from me. I think every time I say that this is the last, I will not do it again, I end up doing it again. This is the third one now I'm doing. Yeah.
Sir, ഒരു ഇന്റർവ്യൂല് കരൺ ജോറിന് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, വാട്ട് ഇസ് ദ വൺ സ്കിൽ സെറ്റ് യു നീഡ് ടു ഹാവ് ആസ് എ ഡയറക്ടർ എന്ന്. പുള്ളി പറഞ്ഞ ടെക്നിക്കൽ എക്സ്പെർട്ടീസ് അല്ല, മറിച്ച് ദി എബിലിറ്റി ടു മാനേജ് പീപ്പിൾ ആൻഡ് ഈഗോ ആണ് സെറ്റിൽ വേണ്ട ഒരു കാര്യം എന്നത്. ഹൗ ട്രൂ ഇസ് ദാറ്റ്?
Definitely, that's one aspect that you need to have. You need to know for sure, because it is definitely. And this role demands you to be good at it. You should be able to manage people, because you're not just dealing with actors.
Okay.
Directing film is not just about directing actors. You're also kind of you're responsible to communicate your vision to the crew, to the HODs, to your producer, so there are so many people, so many departments, so many aspects to creating a film that you and you're the one everyone looks to, because you're the one trying to kind of explain them what is that you are trying to create. They all know, they've read the script, they all know what you're doing, but the real script is in your head. And as good as you are at communicating that to people and making sure that they deliver in what you're expecting, so that is what will help crafting the vision better. And for that, communication is key. And for communication, you have to communicate clearly with all people with different backgrounds, with different wavelengths who are coming on. So it's not just one person. You're coordinating with so many departments, coordinating with so many HODs, coordinating so many actors. So it is definitely a lot of people management for sure. Which you kind of with every project you kind of need to get better at. You need to find ways to get better at.
ഇനി ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് സത്യം പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു ചോദ്യമല്ല. ചോദ്യത്തിന് മുമ്പ് ഞാനൊരു ഫോട്ടോഗ്രാഫ് കാണിക്കാം. ഈ ഫോട്ടോഗ്രാഫ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ ഈ അടുത്തായിട്ട് ഇൻസ്റ്റാഗ്രാമിൽ പോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തൊരു പിക്ചറാണ്. ഇതിൽ ഉള്ള വ്യക്തി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാരുടെ ലൈഫിലെ വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സിഗ്നിഫിക്കന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു മനുഷ്യനാണ്. ഇതാണ്
Money sir.
It says Money sir 84 life in there. I want to ask you, what is the influence of Mani Ratnam in your life, both as a person and also as a filmmaker?
Well, as a filmmaker first, I'll talk. He's one of the reasons I'm here. He's one of the reasons I wanted to get into this business of filmmaking. His films, growing up, just introduced me to the world of cinema, which for me at that time, that impressionable age, it really connected to me in a very deeper level. Like and consistently he did that with each of his films. I consistently felt a deeper connection with every film, and I still feel that even now when I revisit, and I do that very regularly, revisit his films. It kind of reinforces that faith in me of why I chose to be a filmmaker. It kind of, when I watch those films, when I watch those scenes, it makes me, it gives me that confidence back that yes, I'm doing something right. I need to, if I can get close to something like this, even 2% of what he did in those films, then I'm doing reasonably well. And I'm seeing not even like 10% of it. I see 2%, 1 to 2% of what he did. If I can manage, then I'm sorted. So, which is why I think the highest, or rather, the biggest point in my career was when I got a chance to direct a story given by him. I don't think anything I do here on or anything I did before can top that. Maybe that film, got lost or it didn't get the attention it deserved. But for me, I personally peaked there. I don't think I'm going to surpass that, because that from watching him afar as a fanboy, being such a huge fanboy of his films, to getting a chance to work with him on multiple projects, to finally getting a chance to direct a film for his banner, that too on a story written by him. For me, that's it. That for me, it was done. I can safely say I can stop working. I'll be fine. I'll be happy, because I kind of it's way too big, way too precious for me that I got a chance like that. And purely because of it's there is a saying. A very senior actor friend of mine told me this. Makran Deshpande. I keep quoting him. He's an actor that I absolutely adore, and he said something very interesting to me once. He said you should never ever work with your idols. You should never work with your idols. You kind of observe them from far and you admire them. You love them for a reason, but you should never work with them. You should never come into contact and work with them, only because it will shatter your image that you've built in your head, So, and he said that, and immediately he said, but in your case, the fact that you've constantly been working with Mani sir with so many films, I guess this rule doesn't apply. I said, yeah, it doesn't, because he's definitely an idol for me, and I got this wonderful opportunity to work with him, and even now, I look for the next project. I look for that opportunity again when I can just go back and be on a set. So that particular rule, though that has come true for me with some other people that I've worked with, but with Mani sir, that's not true. I think he's someone I've been really, really fortunate to work with, fortunate to learn from, and I look forward to that even more. And over the years, the respect and rapport has just been, it's just grown, and there is so much more that we connect on now than how I used to from much earlier. So he's definitely a huge influence in my overall filmmaking, and will continue to be so for sure.
You have also worked with the iconic Mr. Bachchan, Amitabh Bachchan. വസീർ എന്ന സിനിമയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടി പുള്ളിനെ ഡയറക്ട് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഭാഗ്യവും ബിജോയിന് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഹൗ ഇസ് ഇറ്റ് വർക്കിംഗ് വിത്ത് ഹിം?
While growing up, he was the only actor I was interested in. I was not interested in anyone else. Later on, of course, with Malayalam cinema, introduction to Malayalam cinema with Lal Sir, Mamukka, and with Hollywood and all, you had more and more heroes coming in. But my first hero was always Bachchan. And there's a story about my parents. I got lost in on the beach on a Sunday when my parents took me out to the beach. I think I was 3 years old, and I got lost in the crowd. They couldn't find me, and they finally found me standing next to a poster of Mr. Bachchan. So that's how much I was obsessed with it. So I remember I had a diary with no internet, right? No idea of where to do research, and I'm talking about when I'm 6-7 years old. I researched by going to various video libraries and made a list of all the Bachchan films that they had.
Wow.
And I used to strike off the ones that I have not seen, strike off the ones I've seen. So there was a list which there are some films in it which I had not seen. So I was making sure that I watched every one of them. And because I wanted to be that, because I wanted to watch all his films. So which I did. So he was, again, like my most favorite star. And again, it was too surreal for me that I got an opportunity. When we were discussing Wazir with Mr. Chopra, when he said that, let me talk to Bachchan on it, like in my heart, I was like, oh my God, I just hope, even though he's saying it like that, I hope it works out. And that first meeting when we went to meet him with the script, he knew the script. In the heart of my heart, I was like, just make it happen. Please make this happen. And so it was, even after the meeting, I was not sure whether he'll do it or not do it. So I was always in TED Talks, but finally when it all came together, it was absolute dream come true. And to boot, I had Farhan with me, who again, I used to love so much. Weirdly, I'd really tried to convince Farhan to do David, I remember. I'd pitched David to him, and I was trying so hard to convince him to play a part in David. And he was not convinced on it. So I was, when I got this opportunity of getting both of them together on a script like that, it was definitely a huge deal for me. And Mr. Bachchan, the experience of working with him, I think everybody will tell you that whoever has worked with him, it's never enough. You want to kind of go back and work with him again, purely because of I think maybe I'm making a broad statement, but stars like him, actors like him, who've been in this industry for so long, they come with a very different level of energy and commitment to their way of. You can learn so much just by observing how they take a scene, and how, like, just the process of how they adapt a scene and how they go about working towards. There's so much to learn from them because they have done this for like decades, right? So they have done all kinds of stuff. So it was a huge learning for me working with him, and I cherish that like forever.
Sir, ഇനി ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് ഒരു സാധാരണക്കാരന്റെ സംശയമാണ്. What happens when you're on the set with legend like Amitabh Bachchan and you're directing? You give him a scene and he gives you a shot. ആ ഷോട്ട് ചിലപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ച പോലെ തൃപ്തികരമല്ലാത്ത രീതിയിലാണ് വന്നെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുക. ഹൗ ഡു യു ഗോ അപ് ടു ഹിം ആൻഡ് സേ ദാറ്റ് സർ, അത് അത്ര ശരിയായില്ല, നമുക്കൊന്ന് മാറ്റി പിടിക്കണം, ഒന്നുകൂടി എടുത്തു നോക്കാം എന്ന്, വിതൗട്ട് ഒഫെൻഡിങ് ഹിം ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ്. അതെങ്ങനെയാ സാധിക്കുന്നത്?
I don't think he is where he is today if he finds any director's suggestions offensive. He's not that person at all.
Okay.
He's someone who looks completely at how to make that scene better. He believes in a lot of rehearsals. He believes in a lot of conversations before the scene, before we actually get down to the scene. In fact, I remember having like long conversations on set about the scene, and that too after we have kind of done like a mock staging of the scene. He'll still look at how can we do this differently, and is there something more that we can try and do in this? So, and that's something that when the actor is trying to kind of see how to up that scene. As a director, I'll be foolish to say that no, you do it like this one. So I used to always, and I still do that. I still welcome any suggestion which can better the scene, and vice versa. If he's done something and it's not something that I'm looking at, I had to forget he's Bachchan. I had to think that he's Omkar Nath Dhar. He's the character. So if the character needs to talk, say a certain thing in a certain way, then I should be able to crystallize and tell him that that's what I'm looking at. Like if you've done like 3-4 takes and it's still not coming through, he will ask. When I say I want one more, he'll say, why do you need one more? Then I have to go and explain to him exactly why I need that one more. Why is that what he's done before is not exactly what I'm looking for. I should be able to communicate that clearly. And he's more than happy to kind of, do it a certain way and listen to your instructions and do it. He's not someone who finds it offensive at all.
Okay.
I don't think even one day on set, I had that kind of a thing where he found it offensive. The only time I think he got a bit rattled or rather frustrated was because we were doing this action scene and he was on the floor for a long time and we were struggling to get the light right and all that, and he was just lying around the floor waiting for us to finish. That day I felt so bad that Mr. Bachchan is just lying on the floor waiting for us to finish. So that day I think we really tested his patience, but other than that he was an absolute sweetheart throughout the making of it. And even if he didn't believe in the scene the way we are looking at it, he would say that I'll do it the way you want, but then please give me one more, let me do it another way as well. You choose which one you want to keep.
Okay.
And I'm like, of course. I should like, then let's do it your way first and then we'll do mine.
Wow.
So and Farhan was such a good sport. He never ever played like the director card on set. He's a director, right? He's a filmmaker, but there he was just Danish. He was just the actor, and I wouldn't even say 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10 times that Farhan came up with a suggestion, 10 out of 10 times. It was never for his character. He would say for what will be good for the film. So he'll keep coming and throwing ideas for, for this character, should we try something like this? For that, so or for the scene, should we try something like that? So he would always think for the film. He'll not think only for it. He'll always think for the film. And that used to be such a welcome thing, that he's so secure as an actor that only considering what will work for the scene. So I had a great time working with both of them. It was again very, very memorable experience for me. And both I'm just greedy that all these people I work with, I've actually worked with some. The other day I was talking to my wife about the fact that I'm actually again, not to sound boastful or anything, but I'm very fortunate that in this span of say 16-17 years that I've been in the industry, I have worked with absolute legends in the Indian cinema, starting from Mani sir, of course. But I worked with Tilagan sir, I worked with Madhu sir, I worked with Lal sir, I worked with Bachchan sir, I worked with Revati ma'am, I worked with Prakash Raj, Vijay Sethupathi. So I worked with Rahman sir and something. So I've been so fortunate that I got to work with all these legends. I worked with Tabu, Chiam, Kenny sir. So these are all people that I have been fanboy of. I've just admired all these artists' work so much. DOPs, Santosh Shivan and all we have watched growing up and waited. What is Santosh Shivan sir going to do next? I got a chance to jam with him, work with him. I've worked with so many other DOPs whose work I've just admired. So all these technicians and musicians and actors that you used to admire as cinephiles, to get a chance to actually have a conversation with them, to get a chance to actually have a rapport with them and be able to collaborate on something, irrespective of what happened with that product. But the fact that you're getting a chance, getting an opportunity like that, it's something I'm very, very grateful for. Very, very grateful.
ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാരുടെ സിനിമകളുടെ താരം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ആരാണെന്ന് അറിയൂ? അതിന്റെ കഥയാണ്. സത്യത്തിൽ കഥകളിലെ ലീഡ് ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് മാത്രമല്ല, എനിക്കും എന്നെ പോലെ തന്നെ ഒരുപാട് പേർക്ക് തോന്നിയിട്ടുള്ള മറ്റൊരു കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈവൻ സപ്പോർട്ടിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സിന് പോലും വ്യക്തമായ ഒരു ആർക്കും ഒരു ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ടും കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. രസകരമായ സംഭവം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ബിജോയ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ഒട്ടുമിക്ക സിനിമകളിൽ കഥകൾ എഴുതിയിരിക്കുന്നത് ബിജോയ് തന്നെയാണ്. ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് എ കോൺഷ്യസ് ആയിട്ടൊരു ഡിസിഷൻ തന്നെയാണോ ഞാൻ തന്നെ എഴുതാമെന്ന് തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത്?
That's a very, very conscious decision. Right from my first film, I've best to always work on stories that I have written. I got a lot of flack for my writing, but I take that as feedback. I take that as that that's something I need to work on. But I always collaborate with different writers. But the core of the story and the first pass of the screenplay is something that I always do first. I do the first pass, and then I work with collaborators and writers who can come on board, who would be right for the script. But it's something I really push hard on. It's because I feel I do justice to my stories.
Okay.
Maybe there is a fear that I will not do justice to someone else's story, so I did dabble in it. I have done. Wazir, for instance, was not my story. Wazir was a story given to me, but then I was part of the writing for almost 2 years on the screenplay, so I worked on the screenplay. But otherwise, I would say 9 out of 10 times I've always done stories which I have written myself.
അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ what is a good thing and a bad thing when the director himself is a writer?
Good thing, of course, you know your story way better than anyone else. So you're very crystal in your head and how you're seeing it, because you're the one who came up with the idea. So
Correct.
You should definitely have the clarity of how you're planning to project it. So that there is definitely a good thing. And I guess the bad thing is also it's connected to the good thing. You know it too well, and you're not able to take anyone's feedback in a way because you're so close to it, so you're not able to shift that vision to any other direction. If there's like a radical new idea which might actually help your script, but you're just so attached to it you don't want to look at it.
True.
But I've tried to break that up, especially with collab, because that's how you have to empower collaborators too. With writers who come to you. If you are not open to listening to what they are trying to bring to the table, because they're also trying to see how to better it.
Correct.
Then you'll not grow. Then you'll be very stuck to, and you'll become complacent in the way you work.
എപ്പോഴും തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ടോ ഒരു സെൽഫ് ഇൻഡൾജന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള മൊമെന്റ് വരുന്നത്? കാരണം പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ തന്നെ എഴുതുമ്പോൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ ആർട്ടിലേക്ക് തന്നെ മുന്നോട്ട് പോകുമ്പോൾ പലപ്പോഴും ഡയറക്ടേഴ്സിനോട് കേൾക്കുന്ന ഒരു ക്രിറ്റിസിസം എന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ പറയാം. ചിലർ പറയാറുണ്ട് യു ബീൻ ലിറ്റിൽ ബിറ്റ് മോർ സെൽഫ് ഇൻഡൾജന്റ് ആയിട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്ന രീതിയിൽ. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ ജനറൽ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു അഭിപ്രായമാണ്.
100%. With your own material, you end up doing that. You definitely end up getting indulgent, but that's why you need to surround yourself with people who keep a check on you.
Yes.
I have this. I'll just give an example. I have this composer friend I work with, Gaurav Kotkindi, who does a lot of score work for most of my films. He's done a lot of score work with me. And I remember, I think for Taish or something, I was coming up with I'd collected so many songs and we were placing the songs and placing the music. After one point, I remember I was sitting with him and he said when I was talking about a new song, that I'm trying to do this new song.
Yeah.
He said it's enough. It's really enough. You should know when to stop. So, and I started laughing and it's true, because I go overboard and I was overscoring and overdoing it only purely because of my love for a certain kind of music. And he said he had to tell me to stop. He said, enough. This doesn't need that. You don't need another song. You don't need another piece. This needs silence here. So stop. No music, nothing. Let this scene play out the way it is. And I just heard him out, and I was my first instinct was to argue back, but then I took some time and I said, "Hey, you're right. We are overscoring it." So you need to surround yourself with people who will at least have that freedom to tell you and keep you in check. And that should happen in every department, even with actors, with technicians, with DOPs, with editors. They should be able to keep that check on you when you become a bit more indulgent.
ഓക്കെ, മ്യൂസിക്കിന്റെ കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞപ്പോഴാണ് ഐ സീൻ ദാറ്റ് ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ ഒരിക്കലും ഒരു സിംഗിൾ ഡയറക്ടറിനൊപ്പം വർക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ ശ്രമിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. ഹി പൂൾസ് ഇൻ എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് മ്യൂസിക് ഡയറക്ടേഴ്സ്. അത് എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് അങ്ങനെ സംഭവിക്കുന്നത്?
Because of my first film, because of Shaitan, I think, because of how we designed the soundtrack for Shaitan, and Prashant Pillai was the composer on the film. It was his debut film also, I think, at that time, and it was my first film.
Okay.
He was supposed to do the entire score for the film with all the songs. He came up with the idea that the script will really benefit if we have sounds and music from various other artists who would be right for the film.
Okay.
He came up with that idea, and I think first of all, it was so big of him to come up with an idea like that, especially considering it was his
Correct.
first big film also.
Correct.
But he said, no, I'll do all.
True.
But the idea came from him, and he started sending, it's not just the idea, he started sending me tracks from different artists, and he said, for this scene, this might be interesting, for this might be interesting. And then I just latched onto that, and I have not let go till now. I think I just got so excited by collecting music and working with different musicians to collaborate on a soundtrack. And so I look forward to that. I look forward to collaborating with like an eclectic bunch of musicians who will be right for the film. So for Shaitan itself, we had like a death metal artist who thing, and just giving an example, it was for that time it was something very new that we were trying.
True.
It is, and we got away with it. So and it was right for the film. So that germ was started by Prashant, and now, like I said, I've only my films have only benefited since then, and I don't think I'm going to let that go. I'm going to with every film I still work with different many musicians. The numbers have always increased. In fact, now what I try and do is that every film I make sure I work with one or two new. I don't work with my existing. Like I always work with my existing people also, but every soundtrack I'll make sure I work with someone new.
Oh, that's like breaking the pattern.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me tell you, whatever you're doing, it's amazing. Even the concept of working with multiple composers and all. Every album of Bejoy Nambiar sounds very different. അത് കേൾക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർക്ക്, even with Shaitan, that was like an explosive thing for us. നമ്മളത് കേൾക്കാത്ത ഒരു എന്താ പറയാ ഒരു സൗണ്ട് സ്കേപ്പ് ആയിരുന്നു ആ സമയത്ത് വന്നത്. So that is amazing. You should do that.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
2022 ടോപ്പ് എന്റർടൈൻമെന്റ് വാർത്തകളിൽ ഇടം പിടിച്ച ഒരു വാർത്ത എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മാധുരി ദീക്ഷിത്തിന് തിരിച്ചുവരവിനെ കുറിച്ചായിരുന്നു. പുള്ളിക്കാരി തിരിച്ചു വരുന്നത് ഒരു വെബ് സീരീസിലാണ് എന്നായിരുന്നു വാർത്തയുടെ മെയിൻ സമറൈസിങ് എലിമെന്റ്. എന്നാൽ മലയാളികൾക്ക് സന്തോഷം തോന്നിയത് ആ വെബ് സീരീസ് ഡയറക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ ആണ് എന്നറിഞ്ഞപ്പോഴാണ്. I have to ask you, tell us about the blockbuster Fame game and working with Madhuri Dixit.
Again, see, I told you earlier, again, one more legend that I got a chance to work with. And I've seen her movies growing up. And the first thing I went and told her when I met her on my set, just before we directed the first shot, I went up to her and I said that you had come to my school to shoot a movie, and I bunked class just to come and see the shoot and stare at you. And right now, I'm here in this set directing you. So for me, it's like one massive circle.
Wow.
And she started laughing. And she said, when you were in school and you came to watch me, I was also in school that time, but I was acting also. So it was, again, an absolute dream. She is just an outstanding artist, outstanding actor to work with. But more than that, more than being such an amazing actor, she's really, really, really an amazing person to work with. She's just so humble, so down to earth, and so approachable. Considering who she is, considering the body of work she has, the years of work put in, you'll not see a speck of that in the way she interacts with people, in the way she talks to people, in the way she deals with people. You'll never see that. She's just an absolute sweetheart to work with. And me and Karishma is the other director. We both directed Fame Game. We had an absolute ball working with her, and I don't think there was a single day where where we didn't look forward to going and jamming with her on the scene. So it was a really good experience.
പെയിൻ ഗെയിം എപ്പിസോഡ് റിലീസ് ആയപ്പോ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ഞാൻ ഒറ്റ ദിവസം കൊണ്ടാണ് കണ്ടു തീർത്തത്. 8 എപ്പിസോഡ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഒരു ബിഞ്ച് വാച്ചിങ് തന്നെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ പറയാം. എനിക്ക് വളരെ എൻജോയ് ചെയ്തു, ഒരു സംശയമില്ല. പക്ഷെ എന്നെ എക്സൈറ്റ് ചെയ്തതും എന്നെ സർപ്രൈസ് ചെയ്തതും ഓരോ എപ്പിസോഡ് കഴിയുമ്പോഴും വരുന്ന എൻഡ് ടൈറ്റിൽസിലാണ്. കാരണം അതിൽ ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ എന്ന ഡയറക്ടറിന്റെ പേര് ആദ്യമില്ല, മറിച്ച് അതിൽ കിടക്കുന്നത് ക്രിയേറ്റർ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിന്റെ എഴുത്തുകാരന്റെ പേരാണ്. കാണാൻ കിട്ടാത്തൊരു പ്രതിഭാസമാണത്. അതിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഒന്ന് പറയാമോ?
Well, I was brought on board on the show, which is already a Bible created by the creator. Sri Rao was the creator of the show, and it was his script and his vision for what he wanted to do. And me and Karishma were the directors who were brought on board to do this. I had never done something like this. I had never gone co-directed with another person or collaborated with the creator on a long format like this. It was something new for me as well.
Okay.
My greed of wanting to work on a subject like that and to work with Madhuri ma'am and to work with Dharma, all those things helped me tide over these issues. All these things didn't matter to me. My like I said, my greed of wanting to be part of an interesting story, wanting to collaborate with interesting people, that's what drove me to do that. And I'm fully there's not a single bit of regret that I was part of something like that. Yes, of course, we always look at material and think that we could have done better. That is a constant thing with all creators. Whenever we look at our work, we feel we can do something better. So apart from that, I think the show was Sri Rao's show. It was a show created by Sri Rao. And definitely the creator needs to be credited first. We are in that particular project, we are just the directors who are trying to justify the vision that he has created for the show. It's the world that was created by him, and we are only delivering that world to you. Wow. So definitely his credit comes first, and we come after that.
10th June 2011 ഈ ഡേറ്റിന് ഒരു പ്രത്യേകതയുണ്ട്, ഓർക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? അതെ, ഷൈത്താൻ എന്ന ഫിലിം റിലീസ് ചെയ്ത ഡേറ്റ് ആണ്. നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ആദ്യം ഷോർട്ട് ഫിലിം ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ ഒരു അൺറിയൽ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു എക്സ്പീരിയൻസോ ഒരു ഇമോഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു ആ സമയത്ത് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ, 10 വർഷം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ നിൽക്കുമ്പോൾ ബിജോയ് നമ്പ്യാർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ബ്രാൻഡ് തന്നെയാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ക്യാമറയുടെ പുറകെ നിൽക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു ആക്ഷൻ പറയുമ്പോൾ, what is the mind space you are in right now?
I still get very excited, going to set and directing. I get damn excited. I don't think I will be able to operate really effectively if I didn't look forward to what I'm doing. And that's another link to when you write your own stories. When you write your own stories, you live with that scene for way too long. So when you're actually going to set and you're kind of trying to enhance and create that vision that you were having in your head for all this time, you're waiting in anticipation to start the scene, to see how you can make that better. So okay. For me, that excitement is still very much there. I look forward to it with every project, and like I said, every project, almost 9 out of 10 things that I do are written by me. So I'm equally stoked on what I need to do. So nowadays, yes, of course, there is a bit of a comfort, or there's a bit of a comfort of, when I say comfort, the experience of having done it for this long gives you a bit of comfort that you're not completely scared, or you're not completely like, how the hell am I going to do this? Though there are some days like that also. For certain things, you're like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? Which I find very interesting. It's quite challenging. But some days, it kind of just it feels like it's almost like an autopilot, because you know what you need to do to
correct,
get this thing moving, and you know what you need to do to make the day, because you have planned a day. You have planned some 10 things in that day, and you know that you need to do this to make sure that this goes out of the way. So some days that comfort comes through only because of that experience, and but it doesn't take away the excitement. It doesn't take away the excitement of going to set and calling for that action.
What is your take on critics and reviews in general?
I look to them. I look to critics and reviews for any kind of feedback, constructive feedback. In fact, today I was having a conversation with my wife on the same about how feedback cannot be ignored. Feedback can be of any kind, but it cannot be ignored. Content. It is very sad when you work so hard and you put out content and it gets ignored. That they don't even feel the need to look at it. That is the worst thing. The fact that people are taking time watching it and talking about it,
it's a good thing.
You have to. Yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing that they're watching it. It's a great thing that they're talking about it. They might say the worst things about it, but at least they're telling you what didn't work for them. So then it's up to you. You have to take it and see what works for you, what applies to you, and how much you want to take from that, how much you want to ignore from that. But if you stop listening, you stop growing. So I look to all the critics and reviews and feedback to see where I've gone wrong, where I've gone right, and where I've gone wrong. For sure, that's both things. You need to take it in the right quantity, so that it'll help you grow.
മലയാളത്തിൽ ഇനി ഒരു ക്രിയേഷൻ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കാവോ അടുത്ത്?
I've been wanting to do another film in Malayalam. Solo ചെയ്തിട്ട് നല്ലൊരു അടി കിട്ടി, പക്ഷെ അതുകൊണ്ട് മതിയായില്ല. അപ്പൊ I'm definitely wanting to do one more. ചിലപ്പോൾ അടി കിട്ടും പിന്നെയും, but still I'm not letting go. So I've been thinking of definitely coming back and doing something there. I've been talking to some people also, but not yet. Nothing crystallized yet.
So sir, ഒരുപാട് സ്നേഹം, ഒരുപാട് നന്ദി. Thank you so much for being on the show. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. I should be the one thanking you. Thank you so much for calling me for such a interesting chat, and I'm so glad that you've taken an initiative and you're doing something like this to introduce all people working, Malayalis who are working in the film industry, and kind of giving them a space to talk and space to hear them out. So thank you so much for considering me and making me part of this. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Made in Kerala, made in Kerala.
Radio City Originals.